Hey up lads and lasses, Damphyre here, back again with some more Infinite Lagrange. So we have the third and possibly final version of the Flagship Gameplay Preview 3. It did get delayed to the 30th of November, hence it's not out as it was supposed to be on the 23rd. It is stated in this, and I'm a little bit late on this, actually only a couple of days of recording anyway. So yeah, let's go through, and I believe this sort of changes some blueprint stuff. It also talks about the strategic strikes, which we're extremely interested in because it could shake up the meta completely. So, dear explorers, in this issue we will introduce a new special flagship skill called Strategic Strike and tell you about the upcoming new blueprint version number effects. To provide a better experience, flagship skills and the new blueprint version number effects will be updated on November 30 instead. We will continue to update the ships and combat system in the game in the near future to improve the combat system in Lagrange network. So here we have the flagship skill Strategic Strike. Strategic Strike is a brand new type of aircraft-based combat. The fleet can launch strikes at the designated area from a long distance. All threat targets within the strike range will be attacked by the fleet's aircraft one after another. When an explorer designates a ship that has the strategic strike skill as the flagship of the fleet will be able to make strategic strikes and can attack fleets and buildings within range. Explorers can issue the strategic strike command with a designated range and duration to a docked fleet. After using up a certain number of actions, the fleet will immediately execute the strategic strike to attack the designated area. So it sounds like there is, after using a certain number of action points, there is going to be a cost to this. 10 is the base of an attack at the moment, 10 AP. So I kind of think that we're going to see action point wise going to be around 20, the same as the blockade for the strategic strike, which still makes it very expensive in terms of AP, but it could potentially be worth it. We'll have to see when the game releases. We can also see the designated range, and in this screenshot we can see it is a very large range. We can see here, for as an example, there is just the standard, op circle, and this is like way bigger. It's not even like 100%. It's like almost 200% the size of that op circle, which is quite impressive. So you could potentially do something kind of like fun and interesting here. Like if you don't have vision within, say, the bubbles and the clouds and stuff, you could maybe have a little destroyer fleet with Ceres and Guardian dual purpose and AC-721s with your aircraft on them, and launch the aircraft with a strategic strike out of the clouds and into maybe a lamp or something of that nature. Could be interesting because it does say that we can attack buildings with it, so a lot of potential for some shenanigans going on there for certain. Issuing the strategic strike command. The fleet strategic strike action is divided into 3 stages: preparation, strike, and termination. So there is a timer on this thing. During this time, the fleet cannot execute any commands other than retreat. After deciding to launch a strategic strike, the fleet enters a preparation stage for a period of time and uses quantum detection technology to compile basic data info on the complex space of the target. At the same time, all aircraft of the fleet are automatically organized into multiple strike formations according to their combat methods to fully maximize the different characteristics and features of fighters and escort corvettes. Escort corvettes and fighters that have independent combat abilities will form a formation to entangle the target, forcing them to engage in combat and interrupting their actions. Formations formed by fighters that engage in reciprocal combat will not interrupt the opponent's action, which means the opponent's fleet can still counterattack while sailing normally. So this is interesting. Is this where we're going to maybe see stealth bombers just going in to bomb things away and not getting hit? Is this what they're sort of referring to here? with the reciprocal combat. And then obviously you have the corvettes and fighters that just sort of get into combat anyway. Definitely going to be interesting to see what's going on. After the preparations are completed, the aircraft strike formation will attack threat targets within the strike's range in order until all threat targets within range are eliminated. A fleet that is being attacked by a strategic strike, its anti-aircraft weapons and air defense aircraft will automatically counterattack the aircraft formation when there are no more threat targets in the strike range. The aircraft formation will cruise and remain on alert within the strike range. It will immediately strike again once a new threat target appears within the strike range. So this is actually working like a blockade, but with strike aircraft by the sounds of it. You have this strike range, it's going to attack everything within that range. And it seems like it's just like a thing. I don't know how long. Maybe it's got a timer that lasts for so long, or maybe it's permanent like a blockade. You have to cancel it to actually stop it. But yeah, definitely really interesting. It's going to change up the frontline gameplay quite a bit, because you normally just have a blockade load of fleets. Now you're going to have blockades with maybe these strategic strikes behind them. Could make for very interesting front lines, although at the same time can make them very, very boring because you just can't break through. Strategic strike can attack buildings within range to continually reduce their HP, but cannot strike fleets docked inside them or destroy the buildings. Okay, so it can't destroy an amp then, and it doesn't sound like it can destroy bases and stuff like that, but you can whittle them down. In other words, it can be used to occupy space stations, destroy privateer bases, or explorer bases. They don't actually say amps here, but they do say etc. at the end here, so potentially it will affect mining outposts. The fleet that is carrying out a strategic strike command also loses the conventional combat abilities of aircraft, and it will take a certain amount of time to recall the aircraft if the fleet is attacked. Okay, so I guess if you hit retreat here, you are sat waiting for the aircraft to come back before you can actually retreat, which is good. That does mean you're completely open to get demolished during that time, and there needs to be a risk reward here for using the strategic strike, and it sounds like they have definitely implemented that. Different types of ships have different strategic strike command capabilities, differing in terms of angle, radius, distance, aircraft flight speed, formation, attack, order, etc. So it is very important to choose the most suitable ship as the flagship for strategic strikes. After selecting a flagship, it will be necessary to decide on the fleet configuration and balance of ratio of aircraft and ships. Hell of a lot of testing going on here. I believe me and Happy have mentioned this in our Discord, and just going, this is going to take a while to test everything, especially because of some other changes a bit later on we'll talk about. So yeah, we will get around to testing as much as we possibly can as soon as we can, which will be on the 30th. We're just going to start straight away. I'm already setting up now to build series and Guardian dual purposes and all that kind of stuff. An aircraft formation that is currently executing strategic strike. Strategic strikes introduces a variety of new strategic experiences, such as making long-distance attack runs, interception actions, breaking blockages. I think they're meant to say breaking blockades there. Explorers will need to experience strategic strikes personally to explore more uses of strategic strikes and various ways to employ them strategically in the Lagrange network. So yeah, basically kind of what I'd expect them to be used for, but again, we're going to need to test things out. So the new blueprint version number effects. Blueprint version numbers are the crystallization of ship technology. That sounds odd to me. Representing the scientific and technological strengths of the ship. I just sit there going, then crystallization of ship technology. I was like, well, what else was I going to expect them just to turn up with a USB and plug it into the ship to upload? No, that's not how tech points work. They don't sit on USBs. Having a higher version number means that the production and technical information of the blueprint are also more complicated and will affect the performance of the ships. For aircraft and small and medium-sized ships, increasing the technical investment will strengthen the entire hull structure. For large ships, due to their large hulls, the technical investment will bring about improvements with localized effects. At the same time, ship production will consume more resources and time. This logic is in line with the basic industrial rules of the Lagrange network, therefore will add effects to correspond to blueprint version number changes. So every one tech point in the version number of a fighter increases the HP of the fighter of that blueprint by 1 and increases the production time by 0.5%. Escort is identical, except you get 5 HP and same build time. The frigates will get 20 HP, interesting, and 0.5% time. So the problem I have with these changes is it does help the whales out. Obviously the build time is down, but the increased HP is going to help the whales out. Frigate blueprints have about 100 points to, upgrade them, to max them out. So you're now looking at a bonus of 2,000 HP for the frigate. Although saying that, it's also a 50% increased build time, which sucks ass. Actually, yeah, I didn't think about that. 50% build time. Frigates take, about 20 to 30 minutes at base frigate 1. The frigate build thing at level 1. And, yeah, if you're, just the base, just getting through the stuff, your capital shipyards and stuff, yeah, you're looking at, 20, 26 minutes early game. So that's another, 13 minutes? So it's 30-odd minutes for some frigates. And it's even longer. The frigate I'm thinking of at the moment, I think it's the Xeno. And I think that's 26 minutes at the current time I'm building them. So yeah, that could be... that does change things up a little bit. You won't be able to reinforce the front lines as quickly after losing fleets. The problem is, though, at the same time, is this just helps the run the way as soon as you get attacked style gameplay, which I just don't agree with. It's boring. Anyway, cruisers will get an extra 60 HP, but their time increase is only 0.2%, although that's 20% extra time at 100 tech points, which is a lot. Cruisers take a long time to build already. All the utilities are going to get an extra 20 HP as well. BCs, auxiliary ships and carriers, for every 1 TP invested, increases the HP. Every 1 TP invested. So bear in mind that they've worded it that way, because it also obviously includes, adding the 10 module cost, the 10 tech point module costs. So that's also going to increase that. But they're going to get 50 HP with a 0.05%. So you're going to end up with a... you're looking at a maxed carrier or arcs of BC being, I think it's about 200, 300 tech points. So you're looking at 10% increased times to build there. At the same time, you are looking at, 10,000 extra HP. That's quite a bit, actually. And I'm no doubt that's going to stack with HP increases and stuff like that. There is also, at the same time, based on the worldview of industry and technology, rules will introduce a certain cost to reset the tech points in the blueprint system multiple times. The first reset in each system was free, and each subsequent reset will cost 30,000 UE coins. Late game, that's not going to be too much of a problem. Early mid game, when you're going for pure damage Xenos to anti-carrier Xenos, you're switching them over, you're probably only going to do that once, so that's fine. Rarely it's the same. You might not be running the Battlecruiser mod early game, you're going to swap it out, so that's going to be your one free reset. Just need to be careful about how you use these resets. For me personally, this is a pain in the ass because I do move mods around frequently on ships when I'm testing them, and having to pay 30,000 UE coins is going to slow my ability to be able to do that. Quite considerably, in fact, because even late game, 30,000 UE coins, although you may not spend them too much, you pick up your 2 UE coin crates, and then you probably sat there on the load if you've already maxed your weapons and stuff. So, you're only like bringing in like 30,000 every so many hours. So, yeah, it's definitely going to slow stuff down. That's it for the adjustments made this time. We have always been committed to providing a rich and diverse strategic game experience. This is a goal and purpose that we've always followed to bring more new player experiences to explorers. Thank you all for support and love of Infinite Lagrange. Now, can you please fix AA? Actually, no, there is potential of AA fixes, and it is part of this whole flagship thing. But again, we have so much to test out here. The strategic strikes sound very risk-reward. Again, you don't just fly your single fleet out, lock it down in position and fly your airships out, because you might just get flanked and blown up. These fleets are going to be majority carriers. The aircraft aren't going to be in those carriers when they're, out and about doing their thing, and they can't help anyway once you're in the strategic strike lock. So, all of a sudden, fleet comes in, just cleans up. That's how it's going to work. Obviously, you could try balance that out by, adding Tauruses, Eris's, the standard fleet that I sort of run anyway. But I think you do kind of want to maybe specialize fleets into just pure aircraft carriers, keep them in the back row, keep other fleets in front defending. So it'd be interesting to see what's going on for certain. And the extra 100 CP for being in a union might help this out quite a lot. Because then, you got a bit more CP. You could have 2 full fleets of like cruisers and stuff like. Cruisers might actually see use here because you can free up the CP in the main fleet by keeping the carrier fleet in its separate fleet. So there's like massive potential for this flagship preview. I'm really actually excited for it. And just in time, because I was getting bored. I wasn't, but definitely a lot to play around with, a lot to talk about. Happy's in server with me, so we're going to be blasting these flagships about and getting them blown up against each other and testing this as much as we possibly can, and hopefully relay as much info back to you guys as possible. So other than that, have a good one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.